My name is Mary from Concierge Care Advisors, and I am going to be solo today. The end of the year of 2025, heading into the holiday season. I have a couple topics I would love to talk to you about. This is podcast number 22, and it is the subject of why planning ahead matters in a senior's retirement journey. And the key to a smooth retirement is really key in planning. I have a story to start out with, and then I will go to some of the practical planning that can help with a smooth transition. Husband and wife have been looking for the last 9 months and just haven't found that perfect place. They were both would be qualified for assisted living. And through the last 9 months, the gentleman has had some aging and some difficult in walking and needs now a Hoyer lift. So now he has superseded the care that his wife needs at an assisted living. So inevitably, after this fall, he will need a higher level of care. And either his wife will have to go to an adult family home with him, or they would both go to an adult family home, or she would go to the retirement community, and then he would go to an adult family home close by. So unfortunately, they have superseded the level of care that he would get at an assisted living because they waited too long, even though they looked at all of the options out there. So unfortunately, they don't get to choose where they go. His care level will dictate his options. And a family who planned ahead, enjoying a very smooth transition. Same thing, a husband and wife that started looking 9 months ago and moved in shortly after they started looking. So they have been settled in their environment for the past 7 to 8 months and are able to live there and age in place successfully. So unfortunately, a crisis can change the outcome of where someone can go. So today I would like to talk to you about planning and why it matters. And not only does it give you a peace of mind, but it really is, you're honoring the senior, you're being an advocate. And the anxiety of the last minute decisions, talking to people at the hospital that have fallen and broken a hip and can't go back to their home, perhaps because there's stairs or they need someone now to help them 24/7. But those last minute decisions that we're helping seniors make from the hospital bed are really important and very difficult decisions. We like to prepare people in advance to a crisis so they can have the best outcomes for their aging journey. They work their whole life to be able to retire and hopefully live with their loved one if their spouse is still with us. And so giving people a peace of mind that there is a journey after living in your own home, but prior to a crisis. What I tell people, we try to make sure that you're safe at home while you're preparing for that unknown transition prior to crisis. So you may be living at home and you are totally independent, but you might need some resources, but not ready to move to assisted living. Now would be a good time to talk to us about in-home care and how you can have somebody come into your home and supply you with acts of daily living. It might be dressing, bathing, toileting, meal preparation, medication management, but that helps people remain independently in their own environment. So prior to a crisis, realizing that you're needing some help in your own environment. We also do free home safety checks, and those are free. A lot of the physicians ask for us to check on their patients in their own home. Sometimes your physician may only have 15 to 20 minutes with you max in his doctor's office, and he likes to know what's going on in your own environment. And we can be his eyes and ears for them and report back to the physician about your safety, about nutrition, about your socialization, your medication. How are you taking those? Are you understanding what you are taking? But more importantly, to give seniors their choice of control prior to a crisis, knowing what all of their options are when they're independent and may need just some meal management, maybe their laundry being done and those kind of things. But planning ahead really is the best outcome for everyone. And when you plan ahead, your financial stability is known. You know that if your mom and dad are moving into an assisted living, that it's going to be a certain price. After a crisis, that price can go up about $3,000 a month, depending on your mobility. So waiting for a crisis is not the smartest thing for financial stability either, or a peace of mind. But your health and well-being is something that, of course, you want to be aware of. Everyone knows if you have a long-term diagnosis that will progress, maybe Parkinson's. Preparing to move out of your home prior to your Parkinson's getting into a late stage where you may need help with your mobility and other things as well. But as we know, the access to resources is not always attainable when you need it, especially in crisis. So we're asking people to prepare in advance and have a good plan. Adult children, if you're listening, I would ask that you would really have a conversation with your loved ones, whether it's your grandparents, your aunt and uncles, or your parents, knowing what their options are, knowing what their wants are, and absolutely trying to do your best to honor those wishes. We can't always honor them because we make promises that sometimes we can't keep, being that it's 30 years later. I will talk about that in the next podcast about keeping my mother at home. But just want everyone to realize that there's resources out there for everyone, whether it's concierge care, whether it's another local company. It's really important that everyone has a senior advocate that knows the industry, that knows the financial, the social, the medical, the geographical, and spiritual needs of all of the communities out there, so we can help make good decisions. Concierge care advisors hold your hand through the whole process. We go with you to the communities. We are an advocate to make sure that you're not paying too much. If there's an entry fee, we see if we can lower that, if we can negotiate, if there's two people, etc. So think of us as being your advocate for having knowledge of all of the communities out there. We don't just represent one community, we represent them all equally based on the 5 or 6 components that I just listed: the financial, social, medical, geographical, and spiritual needs. We always look at finances to make sure that you can afford it for how long you're going to be here. No one has a crystal ball, but we don't want anyone to have to move from the place that they fall in love with due to finances. So we're always being conscientious about someone's affordability and what that might look like. But again, let's honor our parents, plan ahead prior to crisis, give everybody a peace of mind, have safety at home with a good long-term, short-term plan, involve senior advisors, whether it's our company or another local competitor, someone that you can meet with in your home, not a .com that isn't local. I think it's very important when you're going through this journey that you can meet and talk to somebody locally, even if it's a phone call and they are discussing all of your issues of planning. That is fine as well, but no limited phone calls. This is a decision that you are making. It should be something that you can have access to your advisor at any time and go over whether it is your children that are having family dynamics that maybe aren't agreeing on both mom and dad moving from the house. Maybe there's dynamics that kids want to keep their parents home, and the only way the parents can move is to sell that asset to be able to afford their care. Or maybe there's an adult child that still lives in the home. So there's all kinds of dynamics in 2025. But if you call us, we can absolutely navigate through all of the overwhelming things that come up from aging. But I will tell you, planning ahead is always a better outcome and a retirement journey for the loved ones out there. So please call 855-444-7364 to talk to a local advisor. And you can also find us on www.conciergecareadvisors.com. This is the end of podcast number 22. Thank you for joining us today.